Have you ever wondered what the sunrise over Machu Picchu must look like? Well, probably something like this. Today's recipe, the healthy and delicious shrimp fajita bowl. Here's what you'll need. For a complete list of ingredients and their amounts, just check the description below. We're going to start with 1 pound of raw shrimp. Peel them and put them into a bowl, and then drizzle about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil over them. The size of the shrimp doesn't matter as much as that they're raw and large enough to skewer. Don't be shy. Put your hand right in there and make sure they're nicely coated. And don't be surprised if you end up enjoying it and giving it a little extra. Next, we're going to put them onto skewers. If you're using wooden skewers, make sure you soak them in water for at least 10 minutes before using them. Make sure you use nonstick spray on the grill before firing it up, not the way I did it here. Put the shrimp on when it reaches about 350 to 400 degrees. The goal here is to brown them quickly without cooking them all the way through, so we're only going to give them about 2 to 3 minutes per side. And don't forget to use tongs. Using this simple technique to prepare shrimp adds that little bit of extra goodness before putting them into any variety of dishes. Now let's get those little pole dancers in the pan. 2 tablespoons of olive oil on high heat. Add chopped garlic and fresh uncooked corn. I prefer to cut it straight off the cob, but here I'm using fresh frozen. Thawed, of course. Let that cook for a few minutes before adding the salt. Just keep stirring. Depending on the pan, it could take between 5 and 10 minutes. Once the garlic and the corn start to brown, then it's time to add your bell pepper. We're going to let that go about 5 minutes, and then we'll start hitting it with some spices. I typically use plain old store-bought chili powder, but I had a little bit of Hatch chili powder laying around, so I couldn't resist throwing a little bit of that in as well. Ground cumin is commonly used in Middle Eastern dishes, but can also be used in Latin dishes. Keep stirring until the bell pepper starts to become tender and the spices become fragrant. And add the juice of 1/2 of a decent sized lime. And finally, it's time to add the shrimp. If you could just smell what I'm smelling right now, the lime and chili powder with that smokiness from the shrimp. Mmm. If food were a painting, I'd say this is Sunflowers by Vincent van Gogh. Now Google that. I suggest putting this over rice, quinoa, or couscous. What I'm using is my amazing coconut dirty rice recipe, which you can find a link to in the description. Come on now, those aren't special effects. It really looks that good. And it's going to taste even better. Now you can add anything to top this with. Salsa, crema, cheese. But it just so happens I had some of my world famous salsa mole laying around. Link to the recipe in the description. Oh yeah, the combination of flavors and textures, and when you spoon some of that cool salsa mole on top, it's almost too much. You might have to take a cold shower after eating this one. Thank you for watching.